Star Wars Zero Company is a turn-based strategy game that got its full official reveal at the recent Star Wars Celebration event. Alongside a trailer, which will be linked in the description, there was also a presentation where the developers did a deep dive into Zero Company's story, mechanics, and characters. This video will break down all of the details we have so far, and I'm not going to waste your time or try to stretch it out any longer than it needs to be. I will say that I cover turn-based tactics and strategy games on my channel, so if this is your thing, feel free to subscribe. Star Wars Zero Company is set to release in 2026 and is coming to PC and console with no mention of the Switch. Published by Electronic Arts, this game is a collaboration between Respawn, BitReactor, and Lucasfilm Games. If you don't know, BitReactor is a studio founded by former Firaxis and XCOM developers, and believe me, that influence definitely shows when they talk about the gameplay mechanics. Respawn, on the other hand, is responsible for the recent Jedi series of Star Wars games, Fallen Order, and Survivor, and Zero Company will be bringing back their same award-winning composer to do the soundtrack and background music. During the reveal, the developers specifically stated that they believe turn-based strategy and tactics has the ability to reach larger audiences, tell bigger stories, and that deep gameplay should not come at the cost of presentation or elegance. You'll see it when you watch the trailer, but what this basically means is that there's a big push and focus for a cinematic feel. High-level cutscenes, camera movements, and a complex story will combine with a deep tactical and strategy layer to hopefully create this immersive and challenging experience. Which brings us to the story, an original one set during the Clone Wars era. This was chosen because they didn't want the typical little guy versus big guy type of backdrop, but instead have the more evenly matched separatists and Republic forces fighting across multiple planets on a large scale. This setting also works well because there's a lot of gray areas, factions, and allegiances that shift and change throughout the war. It was mentioned multiple times throughout the presentation that there will be meaningful decisions throughout the game tying directly into all of this. Difficult decisions with permanent consequences, I believe was the exact wording. You will play as Hawks, a disgraced former Republic officer that now leads the ragtag group Zero Company, an elite team of exiles, mercenaries, and heroes for hire that specializes in strategic investigations and high-risk tactical missions. During this chaotic war in the galaxy, Zero Company must band together and uncover the secret behind a corrupting force that's spreading quickly and threatening both sides. Your team will be a mix of custom and original, fully written characters, which I'll introduce first, and then I'll get to the customization that I know everyone is waiting for. For characters, we have Trick, a clone soldier who's been with Hawks since they served together in the Republic Army and was actually injured during the incident that got Hawks removed. Luco Bronk is an Umbaran sharpshooter with an axe to grind against the Republic for invading his homeworld. Cly Calervo is a Mandalorian gunslinger who has a deep personal vendetta who sees Zero Company as the most direct means to an end. Telria is a Tognath Jedi with 2 lightsabers that's on a quest to finish her fallen Jedi Master's final mission. The Caisson is Zero Company's original starship and is piloted by the droid Mevo or M3VO. All of these characters will be recruitable during the story, and if you're wondering about the Umbaran and Clone Soldier playing nice, the developers used this as a specific example of divisions that'll exist in your squad, and if left unchecked, can lead to disagreements, conflict, or worse consequences. There will be a soldier bond and relationship system where certain actions and being sent on missions together will make relationships stronger. Combat synergies and teamwork reactions will be unlocked at higher bond levels, and important to note here, this bond system will apply to all of your soldiers, whether custom and created by you or created by the developers. But what exactly can you do with your custom creations? Using the main character Hawks as an example, the developers showed appearance, species, voice, and class options, and mentioned that all of these are also available to any of your custom created soldiers, as well as being able to name them whatever you want. This sounds a lot like the base XCOM 2 soldier creation. They even went so far as to say that it's possible to use a full astromech squad if you really wanted to. Obviously, there will be advantages and disadvantages for different classes, but the ball is really in your court with the statement that you will always be free to create and deploy full squads of custom characters anytime that you want. This is huge, and it's about time that a game realized this is part of the hook of XCOM 2. The other parts of it are there as well. The specific quote was something along the lines of, for higher difficulty, there's limited ability to save games and permadeath options, alongside multiple mentions of characters not being immune to fatal injuries and decisions with permanent consequences. The base gameplay loop also sounds a bit like XCOM, with Zero Company taking jobs and missions from their base of operations called the Den. This is where you'll return with your team afterwards and be able to socialize, upgrade, and check out the galaxy map. This map is somewhat similar to the Geoscape, with different planets, events, and missions being shown, and it will always be shifting and changing to reflect the overarching clone wars that are raging on throughout the galaxy. The studio actually said that this map is the biggest and most immersive map ever put into a Star Wars game, featuring specific familiar planets from the franchise that fans will immediately recognize. Closing out the presentation, the developers also promised more information, Easter eggs, and secrets to be revealed leading up to Zero Company, hinting specifically that there may be some surprise character cameos we get to see. I came away from this panel feeling like Zero Company might just be what a ton of XCOM and Star Wars fans are itching for: a fully customizable strategic experience with an updated turn-based tactics strategy system. All we need now is support for modding, and this might just be a slam dunk. Let me know your thoughts on Zero Company in the comments, and if you're interested in more XCOM or turn-based tactics content, feel free to click through to either of the videos that are on screen now.